Ahoy, salty dogs! Welcome back to the moon! My name is Lenscap, and today we're playing Stationeers. I have a couple of things I want to update you on before we get started with today's episode. The first is my ladder doesn't work. I can't... Hello? I can't ladder. And like, even if I try and jetpack up this hole... Right, so I got my jetpack on. Okay, that worked, but it like turned off my jetpack halfway up. Okay, so I can grab the ladder at the top. But if I go down, it just like kicks me off halfway down. I don't know what that's about. Maybe there's not enough room here or something. If you have any idea of why that ladder doesn't work now when it worked before, let me know, because I have no idea. I added a permanent beacon, so that's good. I want to go show you some of the other things that I've been working on. Today I figure let's do some work on atmospherics a little bit more. I know we've been working on the atmospherics room for quite a while, but you know, we got to finish a project before we move on, right? That's how I feel about it. Okay, so here's our atmospherics room. This is what we've got here. I added in some automation. So basically I automated two things. One of those is the gray input fill. So we can put our tank, let's see, do we have anything in our waste tank? Yeah. So we can take like our waste tank, for example, and put our canister in there. And it'll suck all of the gases out of that, empty the tank, and then force them into our filtration system. We can turn on our filtration system with this switch. And that's kind of cool. Okay, so that's one of the things. I've got a spot for the regular canisters. And I've got a spot for the large tanks as well. And this basically just uses this pipe analyzer. So what this pipe analyzer does, what the logic here does, we'll go over it briefly. This checks this pipe analyzer for the pressure. This compare unit compares that pressure against 0. And if the pressure is greater than 0, then this writer will turn on this pressure regulator. Super, super simple. Alright, so that's how that works. I also did something similar on this side to fill our O2 canisters. Now, I don't really have any O2 in this system, so this is just going to be on for a while. But it does basically the same thing. So I've got a canister in here and an analyzer here. This regulator is set to 9,000 kilopascals. So what this does, this reads the pressure on this pipe. It compares it against 9,000, and as long as the pressure is less than 9,000, this regulator is on. Piece of cake. So if we swap out this canister for the one we have, you know, for our normal air tank, then it'll fill it up. That's the idea. I don't have enough oxygen in the system just yet for that to be a thing, but it's a thing. So that's what I've been working on. They also updated the game, so now filters become consumed. That's interesting. That's interesting to me. So that means they're consumable. I have had to replace my filters more than once already. So that's a thing. What else? I think that's all I've done. I'm pretty sure that's all I've got to update you guys on. Let me put this floor grating back in place. I only had it out to show you what I've done. And then I think we'll get started on our project today. I think for our project, I was thinking about this filtration room. And it doesn't really make sense to have all the filters in here and then run all the pipes all throughout the base. It would make more sense to filter things where we need them. Since we're going to run this gray pipe through the base anyway, that's how we're going to do our atmospheric return, is through this gray pipe. Which is the same gray pipe we're running all the filters off of. So why not have like our hydrogen, for example, our volatiles? Why don't we have that near the furnace where we need the volatiles, right? That makes more sense. And then we can still run an O2 pipe to where the furnace goes, wherever that ends up being. But then we don't have to run two pipes, right? We just have to run one there. So that makes a little bit more sense. The pollutant as well, I don't know where to put the pollutant just yet. The water we can end up putting near hydroponics. That's the only thing that I know of. Maybe the electrolyzer needs water as well. But the hydroponics is like the number one thing that needs water. So we'll put our water filtration there. So that gives us a couple more spots for tanks on this side if we do that. And I think the best thing for us to do is go ahead and mix our breathable atmosphere over here. And then we can pump that throughout the base. And then we only run 2 pipes, one that has the breathable air and one that's our return pipe throughout the base, instead of having to run, like 6 or whatever. So that should save us a lot of effort. So I think today's project then is to tear these guys out and put in our gas mixers and whatnot to get our breathable atmosphere. We probably won't. Yeah, we definitely don't have the gases to set the atmosphere as breathable in the whole base just yet. But we can at least get our gas mix down and make sure that functionally works. So I think we're going to do this with 2 gas mixers. We've got 3 gases we want to use in our atmosphere. And so 2 mixers, we'll need to mix 2 of the gases and then mix that mixture with the 3rd gas. This is going to be interesting. Let's think. What's going to be the easiest way to set this up? Well, we could do... Yeah, this makes sense. Okay, so if we do this mixture here, this mixer here, that's going to mix the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. And then we want to mix that with the nitrogen. So that could go... I could go here, maybe. Because we've got to get the nitrogen. It's going to be weird to get the pipes in place. Let's go ahead and set this up first. and then we'll worry about that, right? That makes sense. One thing at a time. Okay. I settled on khaki for my... What color is this? Gray. I settled on khaki for my my air mixture color, mainly because I'm not using khaki anywhere else. So I think we'll just use khaki for that. Okay, so this is pretty straightforward. This will just go straight into this mixer like this. Let's throw this on the ground because that's all the white pipes we need for now. So the oxygen is going to go, it's actually going to branch off one more time somewhere else and go to our liquid fuel at some point, but not yet. Alright, so we'll switch those pipes over to black, and then this needs to be a 3-way corner. And where else might we need carbon dioxide? I'm not sure. We can make that a 4-way corner come up if we need to as well, to get our carbon dioxide from there. Alright, let's throw this on the ground and spray it with our khaki color. That's a horrible color. Alright, so next this is going to need to mix... Ooh, do we really want to use that color for our breathable atmosphere? It's horrible. Well, we can always change it later. Next we want to mix in the nitrogen. So, let's see. If we put our gas mixer here... We could run the nitrogen into that, and then I want to be able to access it, right, if we need to, so we can adjust the mixture. Maybe here is the best spot. I think that's going to be best. Alright, let's see if I have any green pipes elsewhere. I don't think that I do. They added these small lockers in recently, and I've just kind of thrown them everywhere. A large locker would work here for sure. However, small lockers look better. So that's what I put. We could use a large one and a small one, though. The large lockers have way more slots than the small lockers, it seems like. Because you get, if you can fit 2 small lockers, you can fit 1 large locker. I think that's how it works. Maybe it's 3 small ones to 1 large one. Anyway, you get more slots out of the large locker, but whatever, man. Okay. So this khaki pipe is going to come out here. And then that'll go into this storage tank here. And then from there out to the rest of the base. We could remove these tanks and adjust their, what kind of stuff goes here as well. To get the pipes lined up here, let's just use whatever we have. I know I have 20 gray ones. And we can paint these later. So what's going to be the most pipe efficient way to do this? Okay, I think it's going to be like this. Let's do this. If this becomes a three-way corner, just like this, then we can pipe this into the bottom pretty easily. 2 straights in a corner. Yeah, easy peasy. And then this becomes, that gets to be a straight one. This becomes a corner. Just like that. And then one more straight pipe here. Cool. And there's our gas mixture setup. Now this will need to go into a tank to be mixed. We'll have to set the ratios and whatnot. Let me do power to these guys real quick. And then we'll talk about gas ratios. Power's going to be interesting to this one. Alright, I've got everything hooked up and painted, so this should be good. Now we can set kind of our ratio mixtures. Oxygen and nitrogen, or oxygen and CO2 rather, is going to be pretty easy. We should just be able to leave it on 50-50, because I think that's what we want. We want about 50% of each of these. That way we don't get overloaded with CO2, but we also don't kill our plants, because we're going to use the same atmosphere throughout the whole base, and I think it'd be cool to have plants all over the place instead of just in a greenhouse specific area. It'd be cool to have a bunch of plants. Okay, so nitrogen is going to be our bigger percentage though, so we want this to be, let's see, which input is this on the bottom? So mixer 2, so we want input 2 to be about 60%. Can I do smaller if I hold Alt? Ooh, they changed the key bindings. What have I got that set to then? Because I feel like I did change that. Toggle UI, no. Quantity modifier, right Alt. Aha. So I just switched it over here. So if we make it, it's about 2/3 nitrogen and 1/3 everything else. And that way nitrogen is like our filler. I think that works pretty well. I mean, I guess we could use anything as our filler really, but that's going to be a pretty good atmosphere for us, I think. And then we'll just have to pump that throughout the base. I added this pressure regulator here as well, by the way. This is going to be important because this will help us regulate how much pressure, how much of the gases this actually uses. These gas mixers will totally use all of your gas, unless you regulate them in some way. I'm going to need another regulator. Unless you regulate them in some way, they'll keep mixing and pumping gas until you're out of gas, until they can't do the percentage of mixture, that you want. So you have to regulate that somehow. And I found that the easiest way to do that is just regulate one or the other. Can this go directly in here? It can't. Regulate one or the other of the two, gases you're mixing. That way, you can, if you limit one, then you effectively limit both, because the gas mixer won't be able to pull all the gas at once. Alright, let's wire up this regulator. I think we'll just wire it into this. That'll be the easiest. Ooh, I hope I have enough cable. I should be good, right? I should have enough cable, right? It's just right there. I'm dropping stuff all over the place. Can I just put you directly? Yes! I love that. I love it. Alright, so this comes out and becomes a 3-way corner going this way. This becomes a straight cable, and this becomes a corner. There we go. We'll spray paint this white, and we'll set our regulation. Really, actually, We only need this regulator, don't we? Because if we're regulating this, then we don't have to regulate this as well. Okay, so we could make that a little bit smaller, or a little bit more like efficient, or whatever. Okay, the next part is to hook up our tank to it, but honestly, I don't think we need to do that until we start producing the gas, actually. So let's move on to something else for the rest of the episode. I was thinking that an interesting way to get some color into our base might be to add these kind of frames in the floor and paint them. I was thinking maybe yellow or maybe orange. I've only got enough yellow to paint one, so let's paint one yellow. Ooh, that looks cool. Okay, that's pretty cool. And then when we put the floor grate back on it, obviously you'll be able to see the yellow underneath it. I think that'll be neat. We wouldn't be able to do that everywhere. I mean, I guess we could do it everywhere, but like a place where there's a lot of logic and stuff, and these floor grates aren't really conducive to this idea. But like, I don't know, having some orange could be good too. Okay, let's try an orange one. Ooh, the orange looks good too. Okay, now I'm not sure. I was thinking the yellow for sure, but I like that orange one as well. I'm not sure which one I like better. Let's put the floor grating on it and then decide. So this is our floor grate we're using for this area, like that. Yeah, I like that little splash of color it gives you. I don't know if I like the orange or the yellow better, though. I think the yellow is going to match better. I decided the air, the breathable atmosphere, is yellow pipes, by the way. I just feel like the khaki was too, like, almost too mundane, so I wanted a splash of color, so we're going to do yellow for that. Easy to make yellow pipes as well. So if that's the case, I mean, we might do yellow underneath. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you like the yellow or do you like the orange better? A couple of other things I've done here. I obviously added some storage on this side. Instead of having tanks over here, I just added storage and some lights. And then I moved our input area to right here instead of over there. It made more sense to me to have the input mechanism close to the filter mechanism, right, instead of on the other side of the room. That saved me from having to run a return pipe all the way across and stuff. Now, we will still use this return pipe for, like, when we do our filtration. We're going to have, like, a cyclical filtration thing. You'll see when we get there. We're not there yet. So that's a thing. We could actually go ahead and start putting some gases into our system here. I'm hesitant to add too much gas already because we don't have all the filters set up, and then that'll just make this pipe be overwhelmed with things we don't have. You know, we can't filter out pollutant or X until we have filters for those, right? And they'll just back up in our pipes and potentially cause a pipe to burst. And we don't want that to happen yet. We could grab oxygen and bring it down. That's actually a pretty good idea. But anyway, I wanted to start another project, and they've just come out with these trigger plates. And so I think automatic doors would be cool. Let's see if we can get some kind of automatic door setup going. Where is my crowbar? And so I think that would be interesting. We could just put a trigger plate here, basically, and then one here. And then we'll have to see how they interact with the door, right? Like, I'm not sure if... Are they only going to operate when the plate is pressed, or is there like a delay on it we can take advantage of? Whoa, I got teleported a little bit. Do we have to program in a delay? If we have to program in a delay, then this becomes slightly more of a problem, but still not too much. So I'm gonna mess around with these a little bit, but let's install these trigger plates real quick. And just see how they work. Maybe we'll do this together real quickly. Hello, welding. Weld up this frame. I may as well go ahead and put 2 levels on it if we're going to paint them all. We may probably won't end up painting those. That may have been a waste of a steel sheet, but it's not a big deal. Alright, so let's see. Is this a kit, first of all? Okay, there are different sized ones. I would like to have one that goes all the way across like that, but we'd have to adjust our wiring a little bit, which I think we can do. I think we could make that work. Okay, and then we'll need one on the outside of the door as well. Need more trigger plate kit. Ah, I see. So that takes 3 plates to make a long plate like that. Okay, interesting. Alright, well let's just do with the small and see how it interacts with the door then. We're gonna need some logic and stuff too, probably. Okay, so I'm not ready to do this, I guess. I'll tell you what, let's do it this way. Let me go ahead and get the materials together, and then we'll take a look at how these work. Alright, so a little finagling, and I've got the logic set up. I think everything's hooked up. Yeah, so that door is hooked up to power, so that means everything should work. I added a batch reader. So let's see if we can get this to find the trigger plate. Okay, there we go. So that'll read the large trigger plates. Average, sum, minimum, maximum. We'll read the maximum. So that way if 1 is on, then it outputs a 1. And then the setting is what? Setting. That's the only option. Alright, so that reads a 0. And then if we stand on it, it reads a 1. Okay, so that's what we want. And then I have a logic writer. So this is going to take input from the... Let's name it. This is the door trigger. We'll just call it that. I don't see why. We'll call this door plate in. And we'll call this door plate out. I actually didn't hook up the door plate out yet. I just completely overlooked doing that. Okay, but we'll just test with this one plate and see if it works. Okay, cool. So now this needs to write to the door. So it's going to take in from door trigger. Okay. The setting, it doesn't matter yet. It's going to write to the door. Let's see. What is this door called? I think it's just called Atmo. Alright, so let's find Atmo here on our list. There it is. And it's going to write open, lock, on, open. Alright, so let's close it. I'm like, I can't just walk over these things and it's really obnoxious. Okay, so if I stand on this, nothing happened. Is it because I manually did it? Oh, no, it's because this is off. Okay, now try. Is that just a built-in enough delay that I can just walk through the door? And then it automatically closes behind me. Well, that's easy. And then I just need to do the same, just wire this door plate into that wiring, and I'll have automatic doors. Well, that was really easy. Alright, so there's like a built-in delay that's just long enough to walk through the doors, and then they close behind you. Oh, that's fantastic. Alright, cool. Well, I'm gonna wire the outside plate on, or, I mean, I could just use the button, honestly, on the outside, and that way, like, I don't accidentally trigger the door while I'm walking down the hall. Because I know it's going to close when I leave. That might actually be a better solution anyway. Because if I want to walk down this hallway, I don't want to accidentally, like, oh, I open the Atmo door every time I walk past it. Like, that's just silly. So, alright, cool. Well, that was easy. Earlier in the video, I complained about my ladder being broken. They released a patch. It was a game bug. If your ladder was below 0, which mine is below the ground, so I guess that puts it below 0, then it wouldn't work. They fixed that. So that's good. They've also changed the way suit filters work. They are consumables now. As you can see, I've got a nitrogen filter and an oxygen filter, and they're at 73%. The small filters last for, what is it, like 2 hours? And then there's a medium filter that lasts for twice that long, or 5 times that long, and then there's a large filter that lasts for 20 times that long. So we want to make some of these large filters today, and we'll put those in our suit once these smaller filters run out. I guess we'll need to make large filters for the filtration units down in the base. I'm not exactly sure how that works. but we're going to have to do that. So we need a carbon dioxide filter and a nitrogen filter. We're going to make the heavy filters. These are expensive, man. 10 copper, 10 steel, and 10 electrum. The electrum is what makes it a little bit expensive. That's one of the harder alloys to make. I guess it's not really that hard, is it, right? Silver and gold. Silver's hard to find, though, a little bit. Alright, so we're going to make that heavy carbon dioxide filter. We're going to make a heavy nitrogen filter. And I guess we'll just keep those in our suit. I don't know. So here's the thing, right? I haven't tested personally whether the kit atmospherics use up the filters, like as a consumable. I would assume they do, but I haven't run my filtration long enough for that to matter, for that to be of any effect to me. So I don't actually know, but I'm gonna assume that I'll need heavy filters in those as well. Cool, so there's the carbon dioxide filter, and man, these are taking forever to print. But I think that'll be helpful to us anyway, having the large filters. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I had a lot of fun making this one. And if you have any suggestions or thoughts on the project we did today, I'd love to hear them. Just let me know down in the comments below. And until next time, stay tuned.